我唔多講啦，我哋睇睇今日嘅經文。
Let's look at today's scripture.
約拿書第1章第5節。
In the book of Jonah, chapter 1, verse 5 to 6.
對唔住，呢個咁嘅銀幕嗰度嗰個 resolution 唔係好啱，但係冇時間再改一改，應該係大啲嘅，同埋咧唔會 cut 咗啲嘢嘅，咁嗰度 cut 咗。水手便懼怕，各人哀求自己的神，他們將船上嘅貨物拋在海中，為要使船輕些。約拿已下到艙底躺卧沉睡，船主到他那裏對他說：你這沉睡嘅人啊，為何這樣咯？起來，求告你嘅神，或者神顧念我們，使我們不致滅亡。
All the sailors were afraid, and each cried out to his own God. And they threw the cargo into the sea to lighten the ship. But Jonah had gone below deck, where he lay down and fell into a deep sleep. The captain went to him and said, How can you sleep? Get up and call on your God. Maybe he will take notice of us, so that we will not perish.
父神，我哋感謝你嘅話係靈係生命。
We thank you that your word is life.
懇求主你亦都喺我哋嘅當中蘇醒我哋每一個人，
And we also ask you to awaken each and every one of us,
叫我哋嘅身體靈魂都係健壯，
so that our body and our soul are healthy,
可以勇敢嚟到服侍你。
that we can serve you with boldness.
喺呢個困難嘅疫情當中，可以成為鹽，成為光。
And that during this time of pandemic, we can still be the light and the salt.
使用我哋每一個人。
Use each one of us.
我哋咁禱告奉主耶穌基督聖名求，
We pray this in Jesus' name.
阿門。
Amen.
我相信我哋每一個人都嘗試過係瞌眼瞓。
I believe every one of us have a chance of experience of dozing off.
但係瞌眼瞓係在乎你喺邊個時間瞌眼瞓。
But it depends upon in what situation are you dozing off.
當我哋喺一個唔應當瞌眼瞓嘅時間瞌眼瞓咧，就係最危險嘅。
But if we are dozing off at a time when we should not, then it's the most dangerous situation.
我有陣時咧揸緊車喺高速公路裏邊時候想瞌眼瞓，我唔知你有冇經歷㗎，好危險嘅。
I don't know if you experience this. Sometimes on the highway when I'm driving, I seem to doze off. I don't know if you experienced that before.
最近喺呢個念書裏邊亦都講，有啲人咧喺呢個地鐵啊，尤其是紐約嘅地鐵啊，佢話呢個地方咧係唔應當瞌眼瞓嘅。
And there's a report that said that when you are in the metro in New York, you should not be dozing off.
我遲啲會講一講，我遲啲會講到喺紐約嘅地鐵裏邊瞌眼瞓。
And sometimes you talk about in New York as well.
喺呢個約拿今日喺最大風浪、生死存亡之秋，居然係瞓咗覺。
But Jonah here, when he's experienced this storm in the sea, that he at this time went to sleep.
我今日要同大家思想下，要反省下我哋自己每一個人，到底我哋會唔會有類似嘅毛病，就係我哋嘅靈喺最危急嘅時間係沉睡咗咧？
We want to reflect onto our lives and see if we have this problem that our spirit at the times we shouldn't be sleeping doze off.
如果有咁嘅情形之下，我點樣去叫翻醒我哋自己咧？
If indeed that this happened to us, how can we awaken ourselves?
疫情已經有7個月嘅時間，
During this pandemic, this 7 months,
呢個隔離對我哋每一個人有一定嘅影響。
the quarantine and isolation more or less affected us.
唔講個人先，講整體先，
Let's look at it collectively,
然後遲啲我哋所講個人。
and then we'll go to talk about individuals.
除咗社會經濟之外，我相信對我哋嚟講咧，就係我哋或者唔講呢一句啦。OK 講埋先。OK， 除咗社會經濟之外咧，個人裏邊咧，我哋上個禮拜3個禮拜之前講到咧，我哋嘅孤立令到我哋會有情緒嘅影響。
And besides the economy, I believe that also affect us emotionally.
我哋今日會講到咧，唔單止情緒影響，亦都講到咧，會呢個疫情孤立嘅時候，使到我哋嘅士氣同埋鬥志係消沉咗嘅。
And then during this isolation time, that not only affected our emotionally, but also affected our morale.
然後我哋一陣會講到點樣去提高呢咁嘅士氣咧？
Our morale and our fighting spirit. And then later we'll talk about how are we going to pick up.
未講個人之前，講一講整體先。
So let's look at the collective before the individual.
根據呢一個 Business Insider 呢個商業嗰個內幕嘅消息嗰個報告，就講到 最受影響嘅行業有10個。
And according to Business Insider, they reported the business that are being affected by this pandemic.
酒店啊、體育啊、家私啊、餐館啊、酒吧、電影。
And they talk about the hotels, the entertainment, arts and furniture, bars and restaurants.
然後跟住更加大影響嘅就牙醫啦、洗衣嘅服裝店啦、遊樂場啦、賭場啦同埋旅遊業嘅。
And those who are affected even more severely are the dental offices, the laundry, personal service, clothing, amusement parks, casinos, and even the tourism.
由於解封係仲要等最得閒到明年年中啊，
But for us to relax these measures, we'll have to wait at least until the middle of next
所以呢
year.
個影響好大嘅。
So the effect is great.
但係就甚至乎解封咗之後，唔係等於一切啲恢復正常，
But even after the measures are being dropped, doesn't mean everything go back to normal.
因為啲顧客未必係立刻你開翻門佢就翻嚟嘅，
That meaning that the customer may not come back to you right after you opened up.
佢哋都需要恢復佢哋嘅信心同埋安全感先可以翻出嚟。
They need to restore their confidence and their security before they come back.
嚟舉一個例子咧，遊船河先算。我相信有啲人咧已經決定今生今世都唔再遊船河噶啦。
For instance, thinking of cruise, I believe a lot of people have decided that they will never go onto a cruise anymore.
所以呢叫點講隔離呢個樣嘢咧，係令到我哋好多嘅人都係受影響。
And for that reason, quarantine have affected every one of us.
有啲生意已經係結束咗啦。
And some of business even has to close.
我搜查資料嘅時候見到咧，有喺度講咧，有27個好有名嘅滿地可嘅餐館啊之類嘅咧，係已經係結束營業。
I did research about the 27 notable mature business have closed down already.
Moish 同埋去 Barbie Barn 一個89年嘅行業營業，一個50年嘅營業都關咗門。
Instance Moises, who operated 89 years, and Bobby Bond was there for 50 years.
你諗下啲嗰啲從事呢啲咁嘅行業嘅人，佢哋點樣嘅感覺咧？
And how do those people working in these business field
揾工作、轉行，
to find a new job, to change their profession?
我相信佢哋好容易係灰心同埋失去咗鬥志。
And very easy for us to be disappointed and all lose our spirit.
感覺到前邊嘅道路咧係模糊不清嘅，
And that what they see that their future is uncertain.
甚至乎我哋當中有啲人咧會覺得咧呢個以後都會係咁樣嘅，唔會有好轉嘅啦。
And some even feel that from this time onward, things will not change.
所以呢個疫情其實對我哋好大嘅影響喎，係會削弱咗我哋嘅意志。
And for that reason, this pandemic have decreased our fighting spirit.
感到我哋咧係力不從心無力繼續下去嘅。
And find that we cannot do the things that we want and we cannot continue
因
on.
為你見唔到將來係點樣嘅時候咧，所以你係冇咗呢個鬥志嘅。
Because you cannot see your future, so you lost that fighting spirit.
你諗下啲，如果有咁嘅人喺我哋當中嘅時候，我哋點樣去提高個士氣咧？唔容易嘅一件事，因為呢個環境睇唔到一個好轉。
And when we cannot see the things will change for the better, it's very hard to encourage these people.
我哋應該感謝神，因為教會弟兄姊妹咧，大多數都係翻工啦。
And we thank the Lord that most of our brothers and sisters, they went back to work.
就算有兩三位咧係而家係冇翻工嘅，生活都唔成問題。
Even the 2 or 3 are not working, and they are still be able to survive.
咁樣如果咁講嘅話，當我哋幸免於難嘅時候，係咪等於我哋唔需要提高我哋嘅士氣咧？
And when we see that we are lucky to escape these problems, does that mean that we don't have to increase our
係
morale?
咪教會唔需要講呢樣嘢咧？
Or rather, the church don't need to deal with it or say anything about it?
當然唔係啦，
Of course not.
因為咧喺呢個教會唔係喺呢個疫情未開始之前，
Because before this pandemic,
教會早一步已經有佢嘅挑戰。
and the church is already beforehand have faced their own challenge.
呢個疫情好可能係加劇咗或者加重咗呢個打擊，影響到基督徒同埋教會呢個長遠嘅將來。
And this pandemic I guess, just increased the impact of the challenges we have and affected the future of Christians.
響舊年加拿大 CBC 呢個國家電台響3月，即係未有疫情之前啦，係一個報告就係加拿大會有9000間教會，咁不久嘅將來係關門。
That before the pandemic, the CBC have made a report say that in Canada there will be about 9,000 churches who will close their doors.
有好多不同嘅原因啦。
There are many reasons.
我等大城市我哋唔知道，但係其實好多細小嘅城市裏邊咧係冇晒青年人。
And I don't know about the big city, but in a lot of the towns and villages, they have no more youth.
因為而家世界普遍嘅現象咧，啲人咧要走去大城市啊，所以好多年輕人咧見到哇，我呢個埠仔裏邊都冇朋友冇成嘅，所以佢哋要搬到大城市裏邊。
And it is phenomenon everywhere that the young people find that they need to go move themselves to the big city to have friends and
教
social
會
life.
啲人口越嚟越老，
And the population of the churches are getting older and older.
所以有好大部分嘅教會係要咁嘅緣故關門。
And for many churches, because of this reason, need to be closed.
好多大都會裏邊，好似滿地可有好多大嘅教會喺 downtown 裏邊。
And in a metropolis like Montreal, they have a lot of churches in downtown.
但係由於呢人口本來係以前喺滿地可住嘅，而家咧個個搬出去外邊嗰個郊區。
But the people are slowly moving from the downtown area, and they move their home into the suburban.
又加上響翻嚟泊車唔容易喺 downtown 裏邊。
And adding to the problem is that it's very hard to find parking downtown.
所以而家呢一 downtown 嘅教會好多時係由啲老人家嚟到去參加，同埋或者有街邊嗰啲咁嘅嗰啲來來往往，即係嗰啲單身嘅人啊之類嘅。
And for that reason, a lot of the participants in these churches are older people or people who are single living downtown.
你諗下啲 downtown 啲教會100-200年咁老嘅，咁大間，有好多嘅問題喎，就係電費，因為佢哋冇隔熱噶嘛，咁啊電費啲係好昂貴嘅維修啊之類嘅。
And you look at the downtown churches, they usually are very big, and of course it's very costly to maintain, and also the cost of electricity is not cheap.
所以呢9000間教會就快係關門。
So for that reason, the 9,000 churches are almost at the point where they have to close down.
呢個疫情會將佢哋加快關門。
And the pandemic just increased this process.
但係今日講俾大家聽，唔單止9000間教會，今個疫情之後係加多咗好多其他嘅教會，加多其他教會。
Under this pandemic, that we also have other churches that are being formed.
因為唔係咁容易維持咁耐嘅時間，但係等於餐館一樣啦，等於出邊嗰啲咁好多商業一樣咧，係唔能夠維持咁耐咧。係教會係關咗，係喺網上高去直播。其實有啲教會直頭冇咁嘅資源去咁樣做，所以佢哋冇喺網上高敬拜嘅。
And some of the churches, they do not have the resources to maintain a Zoom or have a Zoom, and it's very hard for them to not to have people coming for a prolonged period of time, like the restaurant.
而有一部分人咧，根本亦都唔識得喺網上高奉獻嘅喎，所以咧由於咁嘅緣故咧，教會如果閂咗1年幾2年咧，就永遠閂門㗎啦。
And also there are people who do not know how to make donations online, and for that reason, if the church is closed for a year or two, then the church will be closed forever.
所以除咗嗰9000間教會之外，其他嘅啲教會就好似其他啲餐館啊，好似其他啲商業一樣咧，係同樣嘅命運。
And beside the 9,000 churches we mentioned before, a lot of the other churches will have the same fate as the restaurants.
加上疫情帶到個新嘅現象，
And this pandemic also creates a new phenomenon.
就係喺呢個網上高線上敬拜咧，係產生咗一個咁嘅新現象，好多教會都咁做。
And the phenomenon is that the churches are now worshiping, having their service online.
最初我哋好唔習慣，
And we were not unused to it at the
但係
beginning.
7個月之後啊，乜都習慣晒啦。
But after 7 month, we are beginning to get used
仲
to.
有我哋可能要等到由而家等到明年嘅年中，有人講話咧，先至好可能咧會好啲咁多。咁呢個仲有幾個月嘅練習喎。
Moreover, that we have at least until the middle of next year before things are being changed.
我參加牧師組群組裏邊有700多個牧師咧，佢哋好多人講話，我哋教會啲人而家講咧，疫情過後之後，教會應當係繼續呢一個網上高嘅敬拜。
And I joined a group of about 700 pastors, and some of them are saying that our people are saying that even after the pandemic, we'll continue have our worship online.
呢個係教會裏邊未來嘅趨勢同埋現象嚇。
And this is the direction the church is going in, in
同
the
埋咧
future.
基督徒有一部分嘅係咁嘅諗法，
And also this is the mentality of some of the Christians as well.
即係個意思話，我今日係針對呢個問題啊，就係由於咁嘅緣故嘅時候，有一班基督徒一樣係唔會再返教會嘅。
And this is the problem we're looking at today, is that for that reason, there are some Christians who will not return to the church.
我從執事會講過，呢個疫情會影響有一樣嘢就係咧，有啲弟兄姊妹咧，好可能已經係返咗教會最後一次噶啦，係舊年3月之前嘅，
And
以後都唔會再返教會噶啦。
I remember saying to the board that some of the brothers and sisters who attended this church may have attended the church for the last time.
所以每一間教會心裏邊都有同樣嘅準備。
So for that reason, each church should have should be ready for this in their heart.
教會有一部分人係希望繼續呢個網上，唔係我所講唔係我哋教會㗎，我講係整體嚟講。
I'm not talking about our church, but I think collectively, there are people who wish that they will continue to worship online.
慳水慳力啦，
And
乜嘢都唔使做，
there's nothing, no effort need to be given.
好大嘅自由。上個禮拜 Fatty 所講咧，喺台上佢講啊，可以去廁所啲去多幾次都得嘅。
And you have the freedom, as Freddie has said, that you could go to the washroom a few more times.
唔單止咁啊，其實有啲教會咧唔係因為 Zoom 嘅緣故咧，佢哋係用呢個 YouTube Facebook 咧，佢哋念書YouTube 咧，佢嚟敬拜嘅時候咧，係冇人知佢參加還是唔參加。
And some churches are not using Zoom, but they're using YouTube and other media, and you wouldn't know if the person is actually there or not.
你行開喺網上一個聚會嘅時候，都係一樣嘢喎。但係有啲咧，可能咧網上聚會嘅時候咧，闖個廁所裏邊聚緊會嘅，知唔知啊？
And because you're online, no one knows you don't. And some of them maybe even join the worship while they're doing business in the washroom.
所以基督徒有咁嘅趨勢而家。
So there's a new direction for Christians.
太舒服太容易啦！我屋企都去敬拜神。
It's too easy, too comfortable. I can worship God even at my
教
home.
會應該方便我哋可以有繼續咁嘅設備。
It should convene us to continue to have this facility.
今日我哋反省一下，教會點解會淪落到咁嘅思想同埋地步？
And today we want to reflect upon how the church come to this stage.
教會基督徒屬靈嘅情況到底到乜嘢地步？到底點解會有咁嘅思
And what is
想？
the condition of the spiritual life of these Christians?
呢個咁嘅思想係咪健全？
And is this kind of mentality healthy?
我相信唔使講聖經，大家都知道。
That without looking at the Bible, I believe everyone knows.
你嘅兒女當一切正常化之後，係唔應當留喺屋企裏邊參加線上網上高嘅上課。
That when everything is went back to normal, that you should not keep them at home and continue studying online through Zoom.
我而家唔係講而家，我講係將嚟。當一切嘅解決咗之後，你嘅兒女如果繼續喺線上高、網上高上堂嘅時候，係有個問題。
And I'm not talking about now, but I'm talking about when things everything is resolved, and if your children continue to have their class online, then there's an issue, a
如果
problem.
我哋明白呢咁嘅道理嘅時候，我哋就亦都同樣明白咧。基督徒希望重啟之後能夠參加線上嗰個敬拜維持嘅屬靈生命咧，係冇可能嘅。
And if you understand that issue, then you will also understand why it's impossible for the Christian to continue to worship online after everything went back to
有
normal.
兩個原因先。
There are two reasons.
第一係教會嘅教導啦，唔可以停止聚會。
And first is the teaching of the churches that you should not stop meeting together.
而教會歷史裏邊咧，第二點就係咧，係咁多個世代 代裏邊係冇冇離棄啲咁嘅教導。
And secondly, is that throughout the church history, they have never deviated from this teaching.
我哋知道基督徒寧願死都唔會停止佢哋嘅聚會。
What we do know is that the Christian rather die than to stop meeting.
或者我跳一跳，我唔講呢啲啦。咁如果學校唔能夠長期上課，唔能夠長期喺線上高上課，
If the schools are not able to, in the long term, to have classes online,
應該有個原因，因為咧原來兒女嘅成長唔單止係上課啦，係孕育於呢一個群體彼此生活裏邊嘅成長先能夠健全。
and the education of your children is not only concerning having classes, but also contribute to the life is the interaction when they are in a group.
除咗咩特殊情形之外咧，我諗一齊上學呢一個咁嘅成長過程係一個兒女呢一個增長嘅裏邊係一個好重要一個因素。
Unless there's a special reason, the development of the children is very important to be in a group setting.
同樣一樣嘢就係基督徒嗰個生命，亦都係群體嘅生命，唔係單止係學一啲嘢睇到一啲嘢，乃係大家彼此有聚會嘅時間，彼此大家有集體個群體生活，彼此照顧、鼓勵同埋建立。
It is the same with the Christian in the Christian's life. We're not here just to learn some knowledge, but rather that we are able to have the support and encouragement in a group setting from our peers.
你知道基督徒就好似一個少數民族喺一個大嘅國家裏邊。
Look, the Christian is like the minorities in a country.
少數民族點樣能夠係保持佢哋嗰個咁嘅民族嘅傳統？大多數嘅方法咧，就係佢哋一定要走埋一齊先得嘅。
And one of the way that they are able to keep their own tradition, this minority, they need to gather together.
去保持佢哋嗰個咁嘅傳統文化語言之類，基督徒一樣嘅同樣嘅方法。
To keep their tradition, their culture, and their language, it is the same with the Christians. 然後
當我哋一齊集喺一齊嘅時候，我哋可以發揮到我哋嘅所長，可以做到好多我哋一個人做唔到嘅嘢。
And when we are as a group, that we can do things that we cannot do individually.
一個孤立嘅基督徒咧，喺特殊情形之下咧，係否則咧好難有生存嘅。
Unless it's a very special case, but a Christian who is isolated or who is alone will not be able to survive.
所以 Zoom 唔係一個長期解決我哋嘅方法。
For that reason, Zoom will not be the long-term solution for us.
因為 Zoom 唔可以幫助我哋有呢個咁嘅紀律，去到大家彼此嚟到有一個群體嘅生活。
Because Zoom does not provide this discipline for us to have this meeting together.
當然頭先所講嗰啲人Zoom 嘅時候係喺廁所裏邊去 Zoom 都得，但係呢個或者極端少少啦。但係另外情形就係我哋個個都知道 Zoom 唔幫到我哋集中我哋嘅注意力。
And we mentioned that people may be joining the online from the washroom, but that may be extreme. But we know that during this time that we are not able to focus when we are joining in Zoom.
所以長期嚟講，對我哋嚟講都係一個挑戰嚟嘅，去維持呢個 Zoom。
So in the long run, it is a challenge to maintain this.
上個禮拜夜晚嘅時候，同一個教會肢體講一講。
And last week in the evening, we're talking to somebody from the church.
佢話我以後我而家唔再參加 Zoom 啦。
And the person said, I will not join the Zoom anymore.
有好多不同嘅原因啦，我明白，我都同情佢。
There's many reasons, and I understand and empathize with her.
因為佢哋冇視像睇唔到，佢哋打電話入嚟7個月啊。
And they don't have a video, and they just use their phone to call in for 7 months.
每一次聚會嘅時候，托住個電話2個鐘頭。
That every time there's a worship, they hold their phone to their ear for 2 hours.
見唔到人，又唔知咩發生，人哋笑佢又唔知咩嘢。
They cannot see people. They don't know what is happening.
我唔知你有冇嘗試過講電話講2個鐘頭啊？
I don't know if you have been on the phone for 2 hours
你
before.
講到咁上下嘅時候，手亦都痛，耳仔亦都痛。
And after a while, that not only your hand is tired, but your ear hurts.
不過講2個鐘頭都好啲，有對話，但係 Zoom 係單方面嘅。Well, when you talk on the phone, it's a two-way conversation. But when you are on Zoom, listening to it is just one way. 所以我好同情佢哋。
So I pity them.
托住電話7個月咁耐，係根本冇可能嘅。
And to hold the phone for, in these 7 months is impossible.
所以我所講嘅意思就係 Zoom 唔係我哋長期嘅答案。
And that's why Zoom is not our long-term solution.
正如學生唔可以長期係 Zoom， 教會崇拜都唔可以長期係 Zoom。
Just a student cannot long-term, have a meeting, having classes online all the time. It's the same thing with our worship.
跟住仲有一樣嘢就係教會歷史。
And another thing is the history of the church.
我哋要明白到咧，原來自從5旬節開始嘅時間咧，教會係甚少好似而家咁樣停頓。
And since the time of the Pentecost, that not oftentimes the church are stop meeting like this, like now.
7個月嘅停頓係有史來冇發生過嘅。
And it has never happened before that a 7-month stoppage.
甚至乎冇任何嘅權力強權可以使到教會停頓。
And I can even say that no authority was able to stop the church from meeting.
啲人啲嘅勢力咧越逼嘅時候，越壓迫嘅時候，佢就越要去教會。
And when when the pressure increases, the people have even more desire to go.
我
to
淨係諗
church.
下我哋教會裏邊以前一班青年人一齊長大，好似阿 Danny 啊、德勒嗰班咧，全班都係啲父母冇去參加教會嘅喎。
And you understand that our young people before, like Danny and them, that that their parents don't go to church.
有啲父母係反對佢參加教會嘅，
And some even oppose them from going to church.
但係越反對佢哋就越要嚟。
And more that they oppose them, more that they come to church.
呢係基督徒嘅精神係咁樣樣。
And this is the spirit of a Christian.
我1978年嚟到間教會，
And I was here in 1978.
79對唔住啊，係
79
其中有2個創堂嘅姊妹仲係參加呢間教會嘅。
And there are 2 sisters who were involved in the expansion of the church were still attending.
2個屋企裏邊都係俾佢老公嚟逼迫嘅。
And they were oppressed at home by their husbands.
有一個咧，啲衫咧全部幫佢畫晒符啊，又講迷信啊，乜嘢，整到佢咧可以唔能夠着嗰啲衫出街。
And one of the ladies, all her clothing are being marked, and so she couldn't wear it to
佢
go
哋
out.
一樣要去教會，
But she still go to our
唔
church.
單止咁樣幫助開辦呢間教會嘅開始。
And not only that, but they founded this church.
另外嗰位咧就係有一次我打電話俾佢問候佢，
And the other person, one time I call,
幾個月之後同我講，牧師你知唔知啊？上一次你打電話俾我咧，我老公餓咗我幾日唔俾我食嘢。
and the last time you called me after that, my husband didn't allow me, starved me for a few days.
我唔知原來有咁嘅逼迫嘅喎，原來。
At that time, I didn't know that there's such oppression.
但係無論點樣壓制佢哋都要去參加教會。
And no matter how they were suppressed, they still continue to go to church.
呢個姊妹仲係在生間中有時嚟參加我哋聚會嘅。
And that sister is still alive, and sometimes I attend our church.
希伯來書講到基督徒嘅精神11章第33節開始講到咧，係打不死嘅精神嚟嘅。
And in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 33, I talk about the spirit of the Christian. That's Christian that you cannot kill.
冇
Your
任
spirit.
何勢力，冇任何力量嚟到阻止咗我哋去侍奉神。
There's no power and authority that can prevent us from worshiping our
教
God.
會歷史裏邊所講到，逼迫越大嘅時候，基督徒嘅生存力就越強。
And I will see throughout the history that the harder the oppression, the more resilient the church is.
我哋弟兄姊妹當中有啲咧，而家咧生活好啲啦，可以去旅遊，所以有陣時去到歐洲旅遊。
And our brothers sometimes they are a little bit more well off now, and they go traveling, and sometimes they travel to Europe.
當你去到意大利嘅時候，
When you go to Italy,
有陣時佢帶你去地下嘅墳墓裏邊。
And they take you to these catacombs.
好大嘅墳墓。
These are huge places.
原來當初教會被呢個羅馬逼迫嘅時候，
In the beginning, when the church was being oppressed by the Roman Empire,
要將佢哋趕盡殺絕，
and wanted to kill them all,
佢哋繼續聚會，
but they continued to meet.
佢哋走去地下嘅呢個墳墓裏邊聚會，就係地下教會就咁啦。
And these, they go underground to these catacombs to meet.
越逼迫佢哋就越強，
The more the harder the oppression, the stronger they become.
唔單止咁樣，到最收尾成為羅馬嘅國教。
Not only that, they become the national religion of the Roman.
你話強得幾緊要？連皇帝呢個凱撒王都要信耶穌嘅。
So they are so strong that even the Caesar at the time need to be a Christian.
我哋中國人亦都知道喺文化大革命嘅時候，所有教會都係被關門，
And during the Cultural Revolution in China, all the churches were closed.
改為呢個貨倉啊、工廠啊，甚至乎我爸爸間教會變成醫院。
And they are being converted to warehouse, to even a hospital.
我識得有幾個牧師都係被捉、被勞改、被抄家。
And I know that there's some pastors who were being arrested, that all the possessions being confiscated, and they were put into a labor camp.
大多數嘅外人都以為教會係死啦，因為啲人點敢做基督徒咧？
And all the outside people thought the church could not survive; it would die now.
冇地方聚會，冇領袖，冇牧師，冇教導，
They have no place to meet. They don't have any leaders or pastors, and no teaching.
連聖經都係被充公嚟燒咗嘅。
And even all the Bible that they have are being confiscated and burned.
點不知當鄧小平上台，門會開放之後，
And then when opened up China,
外界才知道，先知道咧，教會嘅人口大爆炸，教會增長得好緊要。
and only at that time that we know there was an explosion of Christians in a church.
有啲教會坐到滿晒，唔單止一堂聚會，一個主日裏邊就分幾堂聚會先至可以容納咁多人。
Not only that they have a full house during the meeting, but they must have 3 or 4 meetings just to accommodate the people who come out.
我哋以為唔俾人參加聚會，係逼迫基督徒嘅時候，基督徒就會死。
And they thought that when you disallow people to meet and control them, then they will die.
但係相反嘅，
But the
壓迫
opposite
力越大，
happened.
反抗力亦都越大。
And when the force, the greater the force, the greater the resistance.
喺10年之前，我去中國旅遊嘅時候，去到北京呢個崇文門教會。
And about 10 years ago, I went traveling into Beijing to the Shuri Church.
因為日頭要旅遊啦，所以去夜晚參加晚堂聚會。
And during the day that we go travel, so we go to the meeting at night.
呢個係第5堂嗰日嘅最後一堂嘅，
And we attended the 5th meeting, the last meeting of that
係
day.
坐滿晒人，
And it was a full house.
台上都坐滿晒嘅。
Even on the stage, there's no room.
我咁睇一睇咧，差唔多有1000人咁上下。
And I believe there's about 1,000 people meeting.
即係話一日咁多坐5堂坐滿晒，就起碼間教會有5000人㗎啦。
So if they have a full house for 5 meetings during the day, that means they have at least 5,000
呢
members.
個係冇逼迫前嘅，見唔到嘅事實，見唔到嘅嘢。
These are things that you are not able to see before the oppression.
點解會有咁嘅事情發生咧？
And why does this happen?
因為啲基督徒唔能夠唔聚會。
Because for the Christian, it's impossible for them not to meet.
你越唔俾佢去嘅時候，佢就越要去。
And the more that you try to confine them not to go, and they will go.
當
They
文
still
化
go.
大革命嘅時候，冇咗牧師，冇咗教會嘅時候，佢哋就秘密自己聚會，成立一啲叫地下教會。
And during the Cultural Revolution, they don't have a church, they don't have a pastor, so they meet secretly.
冇牧師，
for
冇聖
underground
經，
church. They have no pastor, no Bible.
即係好似有平信徒講到，好似上個禮拜秋兒咁樣，冇受神學訓練，冇聖嘅，但係可以講。
But the laymen start to preach as Carrie preached last week.
但係啲教會弟兄姊妹會增長，佢個信心、愛心更加增加。
The number of brothers and sisters increase. Not only that, but their faith and their and the spiritual life also grow
唔單止咁
well.
佢哋願意為主受苦，甚至乎就算俾人去捉去勞改，佢哋都係願意信耶穌嘅。
But
風
they're
雨不
willing to suffer. They want to suffer for Christ, and even if they had to put into this labor camp, they are still willing.
我講快咗一部分啦。我哋教會開咗教會52年以嚟咧，弟兄姊妹參加呢個教會咧係風雨不改嘅。
And I skipped some, but for 52 years when I'm at this church, there are brother and sister who will come to church regardless of the weather.
我喺呢間教會由79年到而家咧，係試過停過一次主日崇拜，因為嗰趟咧天氣報告話大風雪好緊要，會影響到我哋冇辦法啦，一定要停啦嗰日。
Since 1979 to this time, the church only have stopped meeting once, and that time the weather forecast was that there will be a snowstorm and such a storm that it's impossible for us to go out.
我哋打電話通知下所有嘅人唔好
So we
參加。
call everyone.
嗰日朝頭早起身嘅時候，啲雪咧去到我胸口咁高嘅。
And during the night it snowed, and when we woke up the next morning, the snow was up to my chest.
教會仍然有一個人參加主日崇拜嗰日，
Yet still, there was one person who came to attend church worship.
就係譚耀瑞姊妹。
That's
譚耀瑞姊妹嗰日響呢個聖樂灣坐地鐵、坐巴士嚟到教會裏邊，見唔到有任何一個人。
And Yelena Wadi, she took the metro from Saint Laurent to come to church, but yes, she saw no one.
呢個基督徒幾厲害啊！
And how formidable a Christian is.
係了不起㗎。
It's astonishing
我哋一個生存嘅力量同埋鬥志係好高嘅。
that our spirit and our survival spirit is very strong.
有一個打不死嘅精神，越壓迫嘅時候就越戰越勇。
The spirit that they cannot be killed. The more they oppress them, the more they fight on.
其實今趟呢疫情裏邊有啲教會都係希望係繼續堅持去，就係根據聖經裏邊嘅原則嚟到係繼續嚟到聚會嘅。
A lot of churches during this pandemic are holding on to this principle of church of the Bible to continue on.
其中一個好有名嘅牧師喺加州裏邊咧 ，John MacArthur 咧，佢係響告到上法庭裏邊咧，佢寧願坐監，佢都要繼續聚會嘅。
And John MacArthur, a pastor in California, that he went to court to try to maintain to have meeting in the church.
呢啲係過去，
This is the past.
我頭先係所講係過去歷史嘅。
What I mentioned is the history that's in the past.
個問題係點解當有一日教會重開嘅時候，基督徒有啲基督徒以為可以繼續喺網上高做信徒咧？
And the question is that when everything goes back to normal after the pandemic, why does some Christians still think that they can continue to become a believer online?
而家冇逼迫冇成喎，
There's
唔需要
no
匿
more
埋嘅
oppression.
喎。我諗主要嘅原因兩個啦，第一個就係呢一代嘅基督徒信耶穌信得太容易啦，
I guess
太
there's
舒
two
服啦，
reasons. One is that it's too easy and too comfortable to be a Christian.
缺少咗呢個屬靈嘅操練啊！我哋要先嗰排呢個小組裏邊講咧，可唔可以讀一讀嗰本書叫《屬靈操練嘅禮讚》？我哋缺少咗呢個咁嘅操練。
That we lacked the discipline of spiritual discipline.
celebration of discipline 缺少好似文化大革命嗰個逼迫嗰時候嗰個咁嘅嗰個鍛鍊嘅火嘅鍛鍊。
And we lacked the experience of going through fire as in the cultural revolution.
冇辦法，我唔可以製造呢個環境啊！
No way, I cannot continue on with this.
我知道教裏面弟
situation.
兄姊妹真係好舒服做基督徒，
It's so comfortable to be a Christian.
甚至乎頭先所講嗰班人仲想更加舒服啲，唔使去教會聚會，可以喺床上高一起身打開個機就可以參加聚會啦。
And they want it to be even more easy and comfortable that don't have to go actually physically go to church, but they just wake up and turn on their computer and they're online and they're worshiping.
肉不啄不成器，冇磨練過、冇訓練過、冇壓力嘅話咧，係唔會長出呢個志氣出嚟。
And just like a jade without polishing, it will not become something that's precious. And without the discipline and drill, we will not be able to last on in our faith.
第二個原因就
And the
係咧，
second reason,
呢個疫就係我今日仲嘅呢個疫情對我哋心裏邊有一個影響。
that this pandemic have affected us, something in our heart, our psyche.
呢個隔離令到我哋不知不覺係失咗我哋嘅士氣、紀律同埋令到我哋氣妥。
And unknowingly that this pandemic had took away our morale and our drive, our fighting spirit.
基督徒嘅屬靈生命係一個紀律嚟嘅。
A Christian's life is really a discipline.
其實同其他嘅操練嘅係紀律嘅操練係冇分別嘅。
It's not very different from all the other disciplines in life.
我哋知道舉個例子，運動。
For instance, exercising.
我哋個人都知我哋要運動。
We all know that we need to exercise.
但係你知道的起心肝要走出去運動係幾難啊！
But you know how hard it is to just to determine that you continue on exercising.
冇決心冇恒心係做唔到嘅。
Without this, determination and without perseverance, is impossible.
有陣時我哋要約埋其他人咧，大家始作比勇，大家你鼓勵我，我鼓勵我哋先走出去一齊去跑步。
And you need to have a partner to mutually encourage one another so that you can continue exercising.
但係有陣時呢個咁嘅紀律咧，如果我哋停咗，就好難再開始嘅。
But for sometimes when we stop, it's very hard to pick it up again.
一懶開嘅時候，我哋又會懶落去噶啦。
And once you become a bit lazy, we'll continue to be lazy.
我哋會有好多藉口啊！哎呀，出邊好凍啊，出邊落雪啊，諸如此類。我琴晚做工做得好攰啊，咁樣。
And we find a lot of excuses. It's too cold outside, and it's snowing outside. I'm too tired.
2年之前，我突然間嗰啲耳水不平衡嚴重好多。
And about 2 years ago, that I found that my many years disease became more serious.
My vertigo became more serious. 我以前1年1次，但係2年之前咧，2-3年之前咧，哇，2-3個月一次，耳水不平衡。
I used to be able experience this once every 2 or 3 years.
一起身就暈啊！
And when I try to get up, then I
天旋地轉嘅。
I become nauseous, and everything seems to be throwing around.
點算咧？咁樣又冇藥醫嘅喎。
And what should I do? And there's no medication for this.
但我恐怕越嚟越嚴重。
And become more and more serious.
我突然間想起一樣嘢。
And suddenly I realized.
因為我每個禮拜去呢個市政局嗰度游泳池游水，同埋每個禮拜屋企日都游水一次，咁所以咧我耳仔成日入咗水。
And I realized that because every week I go to the city swimming pool to swim, and also I swim at home as well.
咁呢咁嘅呢個病毒啊，呢個喺呢個潮濕環境裏邊咧，係更加幫唔到呢個即係令到菌啊細菌嘅繁殖啊係更加活躍嘅。
And there's water to get into my ears, so that doesn't help that the bacteria in there. Because in this humidity would grow. 所以
最後我決定就話，不如我停止唔好游水啦。
So at the end, maybe I'll try to stop swimming.
因為耳水不平衡就因為我個耳裏邊嗰度有啲咁嘅病毒搞到佢咧係有問題嘅。
And because the water getting into ears didn't help the situation with the bacteria in the ear.
感謝神，真係好返喎！2年冇再過耳水不平衡喎。
And after that, I found out that it worked. Then I didn't feel the.
我解決咗一個問題啦。
2 years. 但
係我亦都開始咗另外一個問題。
So I don't have that problem anymore, but another problem developed.
而家冇運動喎，冇紀律喎。
There's no exercise, no discipline.
身體個影響差咗咯喎。
And so physically I'm not as
最後我話一定要出翻去運動游翻水先可以啦。
So I have to exercise. I have to go back to swimming.
因為我細啲我唔中意又唔中意跑步，因為唔想啲膝頭咧，第日啲骨退化之類，有時嗰啲咁嘅咩啊骨骼啊。
And I don't want jogging because I think it could affect my knees and help affect my bones.
咁最心諗下先，我解決嘅方法只係。不如買個游水嘅耳塞住，等啲水唔好入去啦咁樣。
So I found that maybe I had to buy some earplug for swimming, so the water will not get in.
你知唔知啊？決定幾容易啊
You know how easy to just make the decision?
但係去實踐你個幾難啊
But to put it into action is how hard.
因為我休息咗咁耐啊。
Because I rested for so long.
我冇咗我嘅動機，冇咗我鬥志，冇咗我嘅紀律。
no, I don't have that motivation, that discipline anymore.
做慣運動嘅停咗嘅人，你都知道你知我講緊乜嘢嘢。你一停咗之後，好難開始嘅。
And all those who exercise, do exercise know what I'm talking about. Once you stop, it's very hard to restart
每
again.
一次我有呢一個咁嘅想我游水啦，但係一定有藉口嘅，一定會有掙扎嘅。
Every time the thought that say, I should go swimming now, there's always excuses as
到最
well.
收尾半年啦，買咗耳塞，半年都冇機會去到游水，因為我個內心裏邊已經冇咗鬥志啦。
And after I bought the earplugs, and then for half a year I didn't go swimming because I no longer have the drive within.
弟兄姊妹啊，喺呢個疫情當中啊，我哋要保持我哋嘅鬥志，保持我哋嘅紀律。
And during this pandemic, we need to maintain our drive and maintain our self-discipline.
你一懶咗之後，一撇咗之後咧，冇得掹嘅，唔係咁容易搞嘅。心理學家都幫唔到你啊！
And after you have let go of this and become a little bit lazy, then nobody can help you. Not even
呢疫情開始嘅時候，執事會話你可以喺屋企做辦公都可以嘅。同我講，執事會話我可以喺屋企辦公，佢哋冇問題。
And at the beginning of the year, the board tells me that you can work from home. It's not a problem.
實在真係可以冇問題喎。
And for sure, there
因為
is
而家
really
用
no
電腦啊
problem.
嘛，而家唔使攞書嘛。我以前搬晒所有嘅書去我辦公室裏邊咧，我一定要揾啲書先可以做到辦公啊。同埋啲人打電話俾教會。
And there's no problem because everything that we can do, I have a computer, we can do on computer. I just need to bring all my books at home, and that's it.
而家我哋開電腦做到嘢。
And now we can work on the computer.
啲人打電話唔係打去教會，打去手機嘅。
And people don't call the church; they call my
所
cell
以我
phone.
應該邊個地方做辦公都冇問題。
So wherever I work is not a problem.
但我選擇咗一個禮拜翻教會辦公室2日，雖然冇人嚟教會裏邊揾我哋噶啦。
But I choose to be at the church, at the office of the church, 2 days a week, even though
點解我
nobody
咁
will
嘅決
come.
定咧？
Why do I make that decision?
唔係因為我唔可以同教會分離，
Not because I cannot be separated from the church,
嗱係因為我希望維持一個紀律，維持一個節奏，
but I wanted to maintain a rhythm and maintain a self-discipline,
維持我內心裏邊嘅鬥志，我要勝過自己嘅懶惰。
and to maintain a drive within me to overcome my laziness.
弟兄姊妹啊，我哋需要喺呢個疫情當中撐起我哋個鬥志。
And brothers and sisters, during this pandemic, we need to uphold our drive.
我哋應該揾一啲嘢，我哋去做，係保持我哋嘅紀律。
We need to find something to do so we could keep our self-discipline.
我所講嘅唔係只係參加教會呢個問題，乃係整體其他我哋生活上嗰個嘢，我哋需要揾一個鬥志出嚟。
I'm not just talking about going to church, but all the other things in our life, we need to find our drive.
我哋唔好撇咗落去，一懶就懶咗落去啦。
We cannot become lazy.
我哋唔能夠匿喺屋企，匿埋屋裏邊咧，係乜嘢都唔諗。
And we cannot just lock ourselves in our home and not think about anything.
我哋要揾嘢嚟做啦。
We have to find something to do.
有啲人係去做麵包啊，做其他嘅飲食嘅嘢，呢個都係一個紀律嚟嘅。
And some people will bake, they will cook, and this is one thing that we can do.
唔係得閒諗到先做，乃係做一個紀律嘅去做。
And not just to do it when you think about it, but after you have a plan, a schedule to do
定
it.
時去做，
You do it according to your schedule.
係做一啲係送俾人添嘅，
And you could do something and you could give it to others.
揾一個目標，
To find a goal
要達成呢個目標，
and to accomplish that
揾一個
goal.
動機，
To find a motivation
去成功嘅。
to succeed at this, what you plan on.
我最近見到太太而家開始每日都要練琴啊，練個幾鐘頭。
And lately I see that my wife, she practiced pianos.
佢印好多嘅歌嚟到去練，
And maybe over an hour a day, and she finds songs.
所以
to
我哋兩
practice
夫
on.
婦而家有陣時要爭琴嚟到去練琴
And so that we are fighting over the piano to practice.
啊，因為呢個係個目標，呢一個係紀律，
Because this is a goal, this is a
唔
self-discipline.
係諗起要做，唔諗起就唔做，或者成日有嘅藉口去唔做。
And not to find excuse not to do it, or only when you thought about it.
出去做運動啦，出去跑步啦，
You could go out and exercise to jog.
我哋要揾啲嘢增加我哋嘅鬥志。
We have to find something to increase our drive.
弟兄姊妹啊，
Brothers and sisters.
你反省一下，到底你而家係點樣樣咧？
And reflect on yourself and what situation are you
你
in?
嘅鬥志喺邊度咧？
Where is your drive?
你係咪鬆弛咗、放棄咗咧？
Have you let it loose and you have given up?
今日你反思下，要量度一下生命裏邊嘅呢個徵象啊！
And you need to check your vital signs.
我哋每一次咧，當人有事嘅時候，或者當有啲危難嘅時候咧，睇睇個人仲有冇希望嘅時候，要睇一睇佢嗰個量度係生命嘅徵象。
And when something happened to a person, we try to find the vital signs to see that there's still hope.
我講個故事俾大家知道係真實嘅故事，真實嘅事嚟嘅。
And I relate to you a real story.
然後俾你知道我今日所講係乜嘢。
And to let you know what I'm really talking about today.
我哋家當中嘅姊妹林勝利，
And Delilah, our sister,
幾年之前
several years ago,
喺一個超市，佢做一間公司，間公司咧係佢哋送啲貨去呢個超市裏邊。
she works in a company that delivers stuff to a supermarket.
咁佢哋咧去到嗰度嘅時候咧，佢將佢嗰啲貨物就擺入去呢個好大嘅冰房啊、冰櫃房啊。
And when she do the delivery, she usually deposit the cargo into a huge freezer.
點不知道咧？當佢做妥功夫之後咧，要出嚟嘅時候，發覺個門閂咗。
And but after she have done her thing and want to go out and find the door was closed.
裏面係開唔到。
It's a room that you cannot open from the
而呢個
inside.
冰房咧，喺呢個超市嘅後邊啊，係離開其他人好遠。
And there's this freezer located at the end of this supermarket, and
諗下
it's away from all other people.
你着普通衫，你冇諗住喺個冰房咁耐嘅，所以你唔會覺得咧會着晒大褸啊、着晒 Parker 啊之類咁走去噶嘛。
And of course, you don't think that you'll be there long, so you are wearing your street clothes and you don't have a
佢
coat.
拍門冇人聽到，
She banged on the door, no one heard her.
佢大叫叫天不應，叫地不聞，
And she called out for help, but no one answered.
因為冰櫃唔能夠漏 heat 噶嘛，所以咧係隔聲係好好嘅，冇嘢漏得到啲出去嘅，啲聲音都漏唔出去。
Well, the freezer, being a freezer, is really, what do you call that? That there's no air
insulated,
flow
well
come out,
insulated,
so
well
there's
sealed.
no. So of course, no one can hear her.
佢聽到外邊有聲音，外邊啲人聽到聲音，因為外邊太嘈啦。佢啲聲音咧係同其他嘅聲音傳出嘅時候係混埋一齊，人哋聽唔到。
She could hear other people, but when she tried to yell at her because it's so noisy outside that no one can hear her.
最深尾佢求救求神咧嚟幫佢。
At the end, she called out to God to ask God to help her.
原來當一啲喺寒冷嘅環境裏邊，
In fact, when we are in a very cold environment,
我哋會經歷一個叫 hypothermia，就係一啲體温降低過低咗。
and we could experience hypothermia.
當有咁嘅情形之下，我哋需要知道，如果我哋有發生喺身上嗰個時候，都要知道啊，我哋要保持鎮靜。
And when we're in that situation, that we have to maintain our consciousness.
同埋咧，我哋唔能夠咧係容許自己瞌眼瞓覺嘅。
And we should not allow ourselves to doze off.
因為咧，當我身體機能咧越被温度降低嘅時候咧，亦都降低咗。
And because of the low temperature and also our body functions also decrease.
然後我哋就會好似發夢咁樣，
And then we'll seem that we be like in
半
dream.
瞓半醒、迷迷惘惘咁樣咧，不知不覺咧就會係唔醒得翻死咗噶啦。
That we half awake and half sleeping, and unknowingly then slowly we will die.
所以到最深嘅時候，我哋會發啲好離奇嘅夢，即係唔知發啲咩夢，好似好舒服咁嘅。
At the end stage, you might be dreaming something, and you might
咁都
feel
好，
very
如
comfortable.
果要死係咁樣死咧，都唔係好痛楚嘅，發夢咁樣死咗。
Well, this is not a painful death, though. It's okay.
但係今日我講嘅係個比喻。
But what I'm saying, this is just an example.
我哋呢個
illustration.
長期裏邊係被隔離嘅人，就好似林勝利響呢個雪房一樣，走唔出嚟。
For people who are quarantined for a long period of time, it's just like Delilah in this freezer.
我哋係冷藏咗啦。
That we are being freeze,
我哋體温降低咗，我哋唔知，不經不覺唔知道。
that our body temperature have been lowered.
我哋講嘅説話好似痴人説夢一樣咧，講咗我哋都唔知自己講乜。
And we will say things that are not coherent.
因為咧我哋不知不覺嘅屬靈嘅生命裏邊係凍死啦，就嚟。
And perhaps similar in our spiritual life that slowly that we are freezing to death.
嗰啲講話解封之後仍然繼續 Zoom 嗰啲人，其實就好似3個門徒同主耶穌上山一樣。
And for those people, Christians who said that will continue to Zoom online, just like the 3 disciples of Jesus.
佢見到呢個主耶穌變化面貌之後，佢同主耶穌講話：主耶穌話呢度真係好啊！
And
我哋
after
喺呢一度留喺呢度咧，就起個3個帳棚啦。
And after they witnessed the transfiguration of Jesus, they, oh, this is great. Let's set up our tents here and stay here.
佢哋好中意啊，好舒服，佢哋唔想落山啊。
And they were so comfortable that they didn't think about they need to leave.
就咁個時間，主耶穌要佢哋落山。
At that time, Jesus told them to
我哋
go
唔能
down
夠
the
苟
mountain.
且偷安，係享受而家呢一個咁嘅呢一個隔離裏邊嗰個舒服。
And we cannot make it as if this is a normal thing that we wanted to have this kind of comfort.
因為我哋基督徒有一個更重要嘅使命去達成嘅。
And because as Christians, we have an even more important mission to attain.
舒服唔落山係唔可以嘅。
And to not go down from that mountain is impossible.
你喺呢個雪櫃裏邊被凍親，係發緊夢嘅時候，你話好舒服啊，死梗啦咁樣。
And if you are like in a freezer and you start to dream something comfortable, that means that you're at the point of death.
你試想一下，以色列人做奴隸嘅時候，
You can imagine when Israelites were slaves
佢哋任人宰割。
and they were being taken advantage of.
但係如果摩西話我哋要帶你離開埃及，
But if Moses said to them, I want to bring you out of Egypt,
佢話唔好啊，唔好啊，
and they say, no, 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 no,
唔
no,
好啊，我呢度好舒服啊，
I'm too comfortable here.
我乜都有啊。
I have everything I need.
埃及嘅調味品，民數記就11章講埃及嘅調味品乜嘢都好好食嘅。
And in the book of Numbers, there's that, well, there's the spices, everything tastes good in Egypt.
我哋寧願喺埃及做奴隸，都唔寧願一個自由走出去做自己嘅以色列國嘅人。
I'd rather be a slave in Egypt rather than being my own people, Israelite.
我哋唔願意食呢啲咁嘅嗎哪啊，天使食物都唔好食㗎。
I don't want to continue to eat the manna.
因為我日食法老嘅荔枝300顆，但願長作埃及人啊。There's a Chinese idiom. Well, when I eat every day 300 lychee, and I would prefer to remain as a resident in the south of the mountain in southern China. But you know, since we have eaten Pharaoh's lychee, so I would prefer to be Egyptian forever, Egyptian slave. 呢個巴比倫嘅奴隸亦都係咁啊，賴死唔走。我呢個生活唔錯，有屋有剩，同埋我可以做呢個尼布甲尼撒嘅大臣啊。
And those who are being captured and brought to Babylon, it's the same thing. The life there is good. I have a house, and I can serve as a high official for the king.
你明唔明白我意思啊？
So you understand what I'm saying?
如果你諗住解封之後，你嘅生活都係咁樣嘅，係永遠唔使上班啦，唔使返學啦，唔使開鋪啦，唔使去教會啦，我唔知你有咩希望啦，咁就。
Now, you can imagine that after everything become normal again, that you still don't go to work, you don't go to school, you don't need to open up your shop, and I don't know what life would be after that.
死路一條嚟嘅，社會嘅經濟唔能夠長期係隔離嘅落去嘅。
And for the community of the society, we cannot continue on quarantining, isolating.
我哋嘅健康啊，都係有損嘅。我哋而家成日喺屋企裏邊，我哋心理裏邊都有好多損害嘅。
And it also affects the health of our body and affect the health of our emotion and psychology.
就好似呢個浪子淪落到做乞衣食豬潲。如果佢甘心情願去食嘅話，冇任何意志去求解脱嘅話，就好慘嘅。
And just like prodigal son, that he was willing to reside to his situation, then there will be no hope to him.
做慣乞兒就懶做官。我哋今日可能有咁嘅挑戰。
And perhaps this is like us that we are used to our situation and
我哋
we don't want to be more
我哋而家得到啲係
controlled.
次好嘅嘢，得到啲係取代嘅，唔係真實嘅嘢。我哋話：我不如永遠都係用咁嘅嘢啦。
And we are holding on to the thing that are the secondary things and things that are substitutes. Where it's like,
你知唔知弟兄
we
姊
just
妹啊？
will continue with this.
呢個隔離令到你好似約拿一樣啊，失咗呢個鬥志啊！
And this pandemic caused you to be like Jonah, had to lost
約
the
拿第一章第
drive.
5至6節裏邊所講啊，佢躺臥沉睡。
That in the chapter 1 verse 5 it said he was in a deep sleep.
我哋要知道呢講唔係講瞌眼瞓。
We need to know that this doesn't mean that he's dozing off.
我知我哋瞌眼瞓咧係有陣時頭衝衝，譬如坐巴士嘅時候，
We know dozing off means like you're on the bus and you
我哋唔
doze.
想㗎其實，因為咧周圍人睇到我哋都笑㗎嘛，我哋成日想撐住自己咧，唔好瞓啊，唔好瞌眼瞓啊，但係冇辦法，太疲倦啦，所以瞓覺。
And even though that there's an intention that to doze off, intense feeling to doze off, but we try to maintain maintain our consciousness.
我
But it's
除
just
咗
too tired.
揸朝揸車啊，瞌眼瞓係好危險啊！但係上2日咧預備嘅時候咧，又睇到一個咁念書講到咧，佢講紐約地鐵裏邊咧唔可以瞌眼瞓啊！
And I know that it's dangerous to doze off on the highway, but also in Facebook I saw that they said they should not doze off in the metro in New York.
因為人哋偷你啲嘢㗎，啲貴重物品冇晒㗎。
If you doze off, people will take everything that you have.
但係今日所講嘅唔瞌眼瞓啊！
But today, I'm talking about dozing off.
約拿佢有更加嚴重，喺咧船底裏邊咧係熟睡啊！
And Jonah is even more serious part, and he was in deep sleep.
佢係懸龍高卧沉睡，瞓得好甜好甜啊！
And he was having his sweet dreams.
佢個知覺當時其實就係冇咗嘅，個警覺力係冇咗嘅。
At that time, he lost consciousness, and he doesn't have any
佢冇任何防禦佢嘅能力、抵抗嘅能力。人哋要偷就偷，人哋要割佢就割。
and he have no way of defending himself. You could do whatever you want with him.
甚至佢哋唔講俾佢聽，抌咗落海，佢啲仲係瞓緊覺。
And he will make you still asleep after you throw him into the sea.
弟兄姊妹啊，
Brothers and sisters,
今日就係生死存亡之秋。
today is the time. We are at the point of life
我哋
and
嘅
death.
靈有冇好似呢個約拿咁樣沉睡喺呢個倉底裏邊咧？
Is our spirits are in a deep sleep, just as Jonah is in
我哋係咪好
the
似啲人冰凍到咧係發開口夢話：主啊，只要你真好，我就好舒服啊！不如等我長遠咁樣喺度睡喺度啦，喺度瞓喺度啦。
we experience people who are in hypothermia that we are dreaming and say, "Oh Lord, this is so good. Let's just continue on."
牧師啊，真好啊 ，Zoom 真係好好啊！你做嘅 Zoom 咧整到咧我哋睇得好清楚，啲人唱歌又好好聽啊！
And Pastor, your Zoom session is so great. I could hear very clearly what people say, and the music is so wonderful.
你可唔可以繼續幫助我哋用 Zoom，等我哋舒舒服服去參加教會咧？
Can you continue to afford this comfort to us to Zoom online, to meet online?
弟兄姊妹啊，
Brothers and sisters,
你好可能好似頭先嗰啲 hypothermia 嗰啲咁嘅凍親嗰啲人咧，發緊夢啊！
and just like you are, just like those people experiencing hypothermia, that you are dreaming.
咁我今日要講，我哋最後要講嘅就係點樣去提高我哋嘅紀律、士氣同埋鬥志咧？
But at the end, I'm going to say how can we maintain or lift up our morale and drive.
原來職業球員最怕係俾教練係冷床坐冷板凳。
And for professional athletes, that the worst thing that could happen to them, that they're being put aside.
如果坐一句冷板凳啊，你嘅身價都冇咗啊，你嘅前途可能都會斷送咗。
And that the coach don't use you, that means that you have no more future.
所以嗰啲咁嘅被坐冷板凳俾呢個教練凍結嗰啲人咧，佢哋係拼命去練球，去保持嘅狀態嘅。
And for that reason, those are not being used by the coach. They continue to work very hard in practice.
佢唔能夠失咗佢哋嘅鬥志。
And to maintain their drive, and they cannot lose that drive.
佢哋唔會話：哎呀，教練啊，同屋企人講，真係好啊，今日坐冷板凳。
They want to say to the coach, "Oh, it's so good," and it's
唔使打波有糧出。
I don't have to do anything yet. I draw a
我咧
salary,
超級座位裏邊睇波，睇人哋打得幾好。
and I have seen a great seat to watch people play.
哇！嗰啲人出領詩唱得幾好聽喺個 Zoom 裏邊。我
and
睇我永遠闖呢度啦。
the people who are leading songs, they sang so great. I'll continue to say where I am.
球員唔會咁樣做，唔會坐冷板凳，
The professional athletes will not have anything of that
唔
like
會俾
that,
人凍結咗佢都唔得，唔知道。
and will not allow
冷藏嘅。
people to freeze them unknowingly.
弟兄姊妹，林勝麗點樣獲救咧？
And how did Delilah got rescued?
有一個人
There's a person.
買嘢，地響個員工我唔知道啦，接到電話響出邊
It
超市
could be
裏
a
邊，
customer or someone who working in the supermarket got a phone call.
神聽禱告其實係出邊太嘈啦，
Well, actually, God is listening to her prayer. It's too
所以
noisy
所以
outside.
佢冇辦法聽得到，佢就要走去後門行入去。
And it was so noisy that the person had to go to the back of the shop.
然後突然間傾電話嘅時候，點解聽到人叫嘅咧？
And suddenly, during the phone call, I heard some other noise.
然後發現林勝利係被鎖掌裏邊，
And the person discovered that Delilah was
一
trapped
段好
in a
長嘅時
freezer.
間啊，長到咧收尾佢救翻出嚟，佢都要去接受治療，唔能夠做工啊，甚至乎咧係要攞呢個 disability 嗰啲傷殘嘅幫助。
But by that time, Delilah was been there for a long time, and after she was rescued, she could not go to work and she had to.
感謝
take
神，神
disability.
救翻佢，冇凍死咗佢。
But we thank God that she was rescued or did not freeze to death.
弟兄姊妹啊，被凍親人一定要保持警醒，唔能夠瞌眼瞓嘅。
And those who are experiencing hypothermia, they need to keep awake.
我哋要醒啦，弟兄姊妹，
Brothers and sisters, we need to be awakened.
唔好以為我今日戴口罩，我永遠都係要戴口罩啊！
Do not think that I have to wear a mask today and I will forever wear this mask.
唔好以為我哋今日用 Zoom，我哋以後都係要用 Zoom 啊！
Do not think that we're using Zoom today and forever we'll be using Zoom.
我講俾你聽一樣嘢，
I'll tell you one thing.
呢個口罩
This mask,
同埋我哋保護嘅工具
all our protective gears,
PPE 未影啊？邊度？雖然係好保護到我，
though it is give us protection,
但係假如一日解封咗之後，一切回復正常嘅時候，
but once everything returned to normal,
如果我仲係戴住啲口罩要上台嘅話，翻教會嘅話，啲人都話我你牧師黐咗線啊！
and I continue to wear a mask and continue to wear a mask on stage, and people think that I have gone crazy.
如果我哋解封之後，我仲係過着 Zoom 嘅生涯嘅時候，你話呢個人咧，仲係活喺過去裏邊啊！
And if after all this, and we continue to live in Zoom,
你叫我去睇下醫生驗一驗我腦有冇毛病啊？
and that this person living in the past is to see a doctor to see that there's something wrong.
因為令我患上個病症，新嘅病症叫 Zoom dependence，即係話咧，我而家係依賴咗 Zoom 先去過活嘅。
And that maybe they develop a syndrome that they're dependent on Zoom.
弟兄姊妹，當解封嘅日子嘅裏邊，
My sister, when all the pandemic passed,
我要慶祝我個自由啊！
I will celebrate my freedom.
我要攞晒啲咁嘅保護器具攞出去門口咧，燒咗佢嚟去慶祝啊！
I'll take all these protective gears and outside and burn them
因為
to
我嗰日
celebrate.
開始有自由啦，
Because that day on, I have freedom,
得到釋放啦。
that we are liberated.
呢個世界唔需要再受呢個疫情嘅控制啦。
And this world no longer is controlled by this pandemic.
我唔要活喺任何嘢提醒我關於呢個疫情嘅捆綁嘅裏邊。
I don't want anything to remind me of the bondage of this pandemic that brings.
啲口罩啊，啲保護嘅衣服啊，啲 Zoom 啊，全部都係冇用嘅而家。
All the PPEs, all the masks, all that things are no use now.
弟兄姊妹，
Brothers and sisters,
起身啦，醒啦，
wake up, stand
瞓
up,
夠啦，
enough.
唔好繼續沉迷喺呢一個咁嘅保護嘅狀態裏邊啊！
Do not continue immersed in this protected situation.
唔好沉迷喺呢個舒服嘅當中啦。
And do not continue on this stage of
以
comfort.
為你一生都係活喺呢個咁環境裏邊，
And to think that you will continue to live in this situation.
而你知唔知當你咁講嘅時候，你係冇希望，係講緊廢話。
And if you are saying that, then you have no hope.
你係希望脫離一切所有嘅疫情、所有嘅隔離嘅嘢，唔係希望呢個解封咗之後都仍然係繼續活喺咁嘅生活嘅當中。
You want to be free from this pandemic, all the measure, but not to continue on after the pandemic passed.
起來求告神嘅名啊！好似約拿嘅朋友同佢講。
And just as the captain said to Jonah, get up and ask to God.
以弗所書第5章第14節我就講完㗎啦。佢話：所以主說，你們睡着嘅人當醒過嚟，從死裏邊復活，基督就用光光照你。
That in the book of Ephesians chapter 5 verse 14 he said, this is why it is said, wake up, sleeper, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you.
弟兄姊妹啊，
Brothers and sisters,
我哋要醒啦，
we need to wake up.
唔好再瞓覺冇瞌眼瞓啦，唔好失咗知覺啦，
And don't stop, don't go to sleep,
唔
don't lose your
好失
consciousness.
咗呢個鬥志啊，呢個勇氣啊。
Do not lose your courage or your drive.
今日唔係撤退，唔係下班嘅時候，今日我哋係要準備上班嘅時候。
There's not the time to retreat, not a time to get off work. It's time to actually go into work.
雖然疫情仲有一段嘅時間先至會完結，
Even though pandemic will only conclude and there's a little more to go before the
但我哋
pandemic
今
is
日要
over.
考慮點樣去進前。
But we need to
小心啊，我
contemplate
哋
how we'll
小心唔
go
好個個開
forward.
門。Ben, don't open just put a door for anybody, okay? Because last week it was like that. 我哋要考慮下點樣大展身手。
And we need to contemplate how we're going to use what we
當我
have.
哋重獲呢個自由嘅時候，點能夠為主發光？
And how to, when this freedom return to us, how can we be a light for our Lord?
弟兄姊妹啊，我而家開始計劃解封之後有咩教會？
And right now I'm planning what to do after the
你
pandemic.
都要計劃你嘅人生係點樣樣？
And you need also to plan for your life
你嘅生意點去重啟？
and how to reopen your business.
你點樣去做一啲嘢係以前做唔到嘅？
How to do things that that you weren't able to do
我
before.
希望解封之後啊，你第一就係用你嘅經濟去幫助有啲真係嗰啲商業啊，嗰啲係佢哋其實捱咗好多苦嘅，我哋要幫佢哋。
And after the pandemic, we could use our resources to help those who have suffered through this pandemic.
去俾翻啲生意俾佢哋，唔好驚得咁多。
And do not be afraid.
我哋要去投資，我哋去祝福佢哋用個神俾我哋資源。
And then using the resources God has given us to invest and to bless them.
弟兄姊妹，
Brothers and sisters,
感謝神，
thanks the Lord.
我哋可以醒，我哋可以醒，我哋唔需要沉睡落去，
That we can be awakened.
我
And
哋
that
唔
we
需
don't
要
need to
永
continue
遠
to
活
doze
喺呢一
off,
個
to
疫情
sleep.
嘅裏邊。
That we will not live forever in this pandemic.
我知道有一日我哋會得勝，
We know
我
that
哋
we
我哋
will
會
be
勝利，我哋
victorious.
將會拋開呢一切所嘅捆鎖。
And then we know we could lose all these things that are bonding us.
我哋唱一首
Bonding.
詩歌結束好唔好啊？
We'll sing a song of
好舊嘅詩歌，
an old song.
係第一節可以反映出話有以色列醒啦。